Hello and welcome again to Kabbala Revealed. I'm Tony Kozenek. In this lesson, we will learn about the principal tool of attainment in the methodology of Kabbala. We'll learn about the building of an additional sense, a sixth sense, that enables a person to sense and enter an upper reality that we call spirituality. It's the method of how to enter the spiritual world. First, let's quickly look at what we learned in the last lesson. In the last lesson, we looked at the creation of the creature in 4 phases. And we saw that creation starts with the thought of the Creator, the thought of creation, which is to create a creature and fill that creature with delight. And immediately, we see a response in the creation, which is a will to receive, which is the creature. The will to receive feels the light and feels a sensation not only of the direct pleasure, but of the quality of the light. And because it's a will to receive, it wants to receive this pleasure. And as a result of that, a new perception, or a phase or a discernment happens in which it realizes that what the pleasure comes from is giving. So because it's a will to receive and it cannot give, the only thing it can do is either accept or not accept the light. To get closer to giving, it decides that it will reject the light. In this emptiness, a new discernment happens, and it discovers that its existence depends on the reception of the light, that it cannot exist by this harsh situation, and it must accept a portion of the light. But it decides it will only accept a small portion of the light, because here it had a perception that the creative force wants it to receive. So it accepts a small portion based only on the idea that it will accept it because it is the Creator's desire that that happen. And here, in this perception, this dual phase, it realizes that an even higher aspect of the force that created it is that it wants to fill it with complete delight. And this next phase here, this 4th phase, is unlike the other phases up to that point, not an action done by the Creator, but an independent desire. But this desire is not a desire for the direct pleasure of the light. It realizes here the stature of the Creator, and it wants that. It realizes that it is a receiver and how different it is from the Creator. And instead of wanting the doing part of creation, it now desires equivalence of form, the attainment of the Creator's qualities itself, the thinking part of creation. So here is where we find the creature at this point. It has made a restriction on the manner in which it will receive. It will no longer receive for itself. It's determined that it will attain qualities completely opposite to its nature. It was created as a will to receive, and yet it determines that it will find a way to become like the opposite quality, the quality of giving. As it does this, if it can find a way to do this, then it begins to enter and sort of build a system for itself a system of interaction with varying degrees of proportion between the will to receive and the will to bestow. And it rises as a result of gaining greater and greater equivalence of form, becoming more and more like the thing that it wants to become. It rises through a system called worlds. And these worlds are a kind of interaction built for the correction of the creature and for the correction of the world as a whole. As it rises, it attains the inner quality of these worlds, which are called levels of soul or lights. They are nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, and yechida, until the creature attains greater and greater equivalence, wisdom, capability, and achieves a cleaving and a complete equivalence of form with the Creator itself. But it has a problem, because it was created in exact opposite phase. It is only a will to receive. That's what the creature is. That's what we are. So how can it possibly become something totally opposite to its nature? Even if it knows now what the purpose of creation is and its role in it, it seems to be locked, stuck. There's nothing that it can do, because it was created in a perfect way and it can only use that tool of reception. And yet it must use the expansion of its egoistic qualities in reception and find a way to turn that into giving. Previously, we learned also that our five senses are programmed in such a way that they prevent us from perceiving anything about the upper world and achieving the goal that the creature now has. And what we need to realize is that the programming that exists within the five senses, which we called egoism, is really an intention. It's a thought. It is a program that says, what is in this for me? So no matter what the input is from any of these five senses, it can only perceive things only in relation to the will to receive. And yet, the quality above it is altruism. It's giving. So giving also is not an action. It is an intention. In order to be able to feel this, which none of these senses can, we have to build a different program, a sense built on a similar program to what is outside of it. This sixth sense has to be a sense built out of an intention that is like this. And that's what the screen is. The screen is an additional sense that allows us to feel on the terms of the spiritual world. The word Kabbala means reception. Actually, more precisely, it means how to receive, the proper way of reception. The method of Kabbala is completely practical. It shows us